السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد عبده ورسوله أرسله بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى ومن يعصهما فإنه قد غوى وإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. إن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وإن خير الأمور موازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد: يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. My dear brothers and sisters, in accordance to the Gregorian calendar, we've entered the month of February. This month is famous for many different reasons. One of the reasons and holidays that are celebrating this month is the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day is the day when traditionally someone gives a card to someone else anonymously most of the time, and it's meant to show affection or some sort of romance to that person. So the essence of Valentine's Day is what? Love, right? That's the essence of Valentine's Day. If we observe love from a closer perspective, we'll find love is of two types. One love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes, and that type of love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes. The first thing we need to understand when we're trying to understand what love is that we need to understand that love is a natural part of a human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, زُيِّلَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَاللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حُسْنُ الْمَآبِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give us a little bit of a heads up of how we're living our lives. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala broke it down for us, this test that we're living through. He said that I made something called shahwat inside of you. This is an internal desire that every one of us has. On top of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, to increase the challenge, I also gave you love for this desire. So first thing you have is desire, and on top of it you have love for this desire. Then the third thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said was zuyyina. I have beautified it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has beautified the desire, He's beautified the love for that desire, and He's made this a test for everyone. Then He started listing specific things that we have to go through and see in our lives that we may be attracted to. Right? Before I continue, I want everyone to know that in the Quran, whenever there's a general commandment giving using the masculine sense or referring to men, it's also referring to women, unless there's some sort of hadith or context that tells us otherwise. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listing the desires of mankind first listed women being the first thing that man is attracted to. Right? But that doesn't mean that women aren't attracted to men, it also works that way as well. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continued that your children, they're also part of your dunya. Then on top of that, heaps of gold and silver. And then khayr al-musawwama, marked horses. We can talk about our cars. You know, have a Porsche or a BMW, whatever you may have. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started listing these different desires that we have in our life. At the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the little key to understand. ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. These are the things that you take benefit from for temporary, for a short period of time. And وَاللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حُسْنُ الْمَآبِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept something much greater, much more beautiful for you in the akhirah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand that yes, you do have love inside of you. It's internal, it's going to be with you, you cannot separate from it. But just like everything, every other emotion that we have in us, everything needs to be kept in balance. Right? When things are not kept in balance, then they can prove to be dangerous. And when we talk about love, we're talking about the most strongest emotion that mankind has. Right? If that is not steered in the correct direction, then the person can fall into a lot of sin as well. Prophet ﷺ in a hadith in Sunan Abi Dawud, he clarified it and summed it up in a very beautiful manner. He said, حُبُّكَ الشَّيْء يُعْمِي وَيُسِمْ. The love, your love for something will blind you and deafen you. You know, when a person's in deep love, what happens? That person is in love with someone, then wherever they go, they sleep, they dream about that person. When they look in the mirror, they see that person. When they close their eyes, they see that person. This is when a person is in deep love. That is why Islam and the Quran and Hadith, they taught us the do's and don'ts about love. There's a quote that I want everyone to ponder over, that says that if I had to choose, the quote is, if I had to choose between breathing and loving you, if I had to choose between breathing and loving you, I would use my last breath to say, I love you. What does this tell us? This tells us that a person is so engrossed in love, this person who said this quote, is so engrossed in love that they're willing to sacrifice their life for the beloved. That shows how strong how strong of an emotion love can be. Now, the question is, what happens when this strong emotion of love is not channeled into the correct manner? What if this love is attached to the materialistic world, to power and possession and oppression? Then what happens? A lot of times, we wonder, we see great dictators of the world, many times innocent children may be, hurt or slaughtered in front of their eyes. Poor, women and innocent people in their own country. And they won't feel anything. Why? Because their love for their throne, their power, has blinded them and deafened them that they don't see anything else. They don't see the harm that it's causing. Because of their strong connection and their love toward their throne and their power. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is reported in Hilyat al-Awliya, that he talks, speaking about love, he said, حُبَّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيَّةٍ. He said the love of this world is the essence or the root of all sin. Now if you look at it, yes, when it comes to zina, love is there, that causes that sin to happen. Theft comes to stealing, right? That also is caused by the love of this world, right? And similarly, many other sins of this world are caused by the love of this world. So we understand this much so far, that love is something that's naturally inside of us. And we also understand is that when we don't channel this energy in the correct manner, it can prove to be dangerous. So then the question everyone should ask is, then what am I supposed to love in Islam? What does Islam tell me to love? The first thing that we can understand of what we're supposed to love is, as Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith which is reported in Muslim Ahmad, the Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba, and I'm going to ask the same question to all of you, أَتُحِبُّ الْجَنَّةِ? Do you love Jannah? All the Sahaba, they replied, yes, Ya Rasulullah, we love Jannah. So he said, فَأَحِبْ لِأَخِيكَ مَا تُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِكَ. Love for your Muslim brother and sister that which you love for yourself. So the first thing that we're commanded to do is you love someone. If you first person you're supposed to love is your own Muslim brothers and sisters. Right? That's the first thing we're commanded to love. Now many times we may feel that, I don't feel an affection toward this person. I don't feel any love between me and this person. So how do we increase love? Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith reported by Imam Malik, تَهَادَوْ تَحَابَوْ, that you exchange gifts and you increase love. Right? So this is one way that we can smile at each other and exchange gifts, and this is one way that we can increase love, inshallah. The second person or second being that we're supposed to love, Islam teaches us to love the poor. There's a long hadith of Sunnah Tirmizi where the Blessed Prophet ﷺ, he described a dream that he saw. He said, in my dream, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to me and He came in a very beautiful state. He saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his dream. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the Prophet ﷺ a question. He said, Ya Muhammad, do you know what the Mala'ul A'la, the archangels, the angels at the highest level of Jannah, do you know what they're discussing right now? Prophet ﷺ said, no, I do not know, Ya Rabbil Alameen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hadith says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed His hand on my chest. Now obviously we do not associate a human hand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the kayfiyah of that may be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did something that brought coolness into Prophet ﷺ's heart and chest, and that he felt at that time. He said, at that moment I knew for a second what was going on in the heavens and the earth. This is in Sunnah Tirmizi. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, that do you know what they're discussing? He asked the question again. He said, yes, Ya Rabbil Alameen. They're speaking about kafarat. Kafarat, those things that human beings can do to gain forgiveness for their sins. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started listing, yes, what are the kafarat? Number one, three things. Number one, al-makth fil masjid ba'da salah. Staying in the masjid after salah. Staying and do some ibadah or adhkar. Number two, iqdam ila al-masjid. Walking toward or coming toward the masjid. Three, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? Isbaghul wudu fil makan. That you do wudu, that you perform wudu as best as you can, even at times of difficulty, when you do not feel like making wudu. It's the morning, Fajr time, it's cold, you don't feel like getting wet. At that time you still make wudu. So these were three things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained what are kafarat. But what is my point from the hadith? The continuation of hadith is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a dua. He said, Ya Muhammad, when you make dua with this dua. He said, Allahumma inni as'aluka fi'al al-khairat. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said is, Ya Muhammad, ask me this dua, that, oh Allah, I ask you to bless me to do good deeds. Fi'al al-khairat, actions that bring khair. The second thing, wa tarkal munkirat. And I ask you, O Allah, to help me leave those things that displease you. And then the third thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? وَحُبَّ الْمَسْحَكِينَ. Allahu Akbar. Oh Allah, I ask you to bless me with the love of poor people. This is a common thing we'll find in the hadith over and over again. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is always asking, Ya Allah, keep me amongst the poor. Ya Allah, help me love the poor. Why? Because when one loves people who are less fortunate than them, it keeps that human being a human being. That person realizes that, listen, whatever I have is only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to me. And just like He gave it to me, in a split second He can take it away. And no one else can give it back. Now obviously, this dua itself is highly emphasized by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructing Prophet ﷺ to ask this dua. But one thing we should remember, my brothers and sisters, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves every single one of us here. That's one thing we should never forget. There's a narration in Sahih al-Bukhari that one time, Prophet ﷺ was with the Sahaba, and they were around an orphanage. Little babies that were there that didn't have any parents. Prophet ﷺ and Sahaba are looking, and they see a woman walk inside, and she's looking for a child. She wants to adopt a child. And she's full of emotions and compassion at this time. She comes and she catches an eye on a beautiful baby. She goes and picks up the baby, kisses it, loves the baby, starts nursing it, taking care of it, showing so much affection. Prophet ﷺ looked at the Sahaba, and he said, "Do you see this woman?" The Sahaba said, "Yes." "Do you think if there was a fire in front of me right now, that this woman would ever throw that baby into that fire?" And the Sahaba said, "No, Ya Rasulullah, this is impossible. How would she do that? How could she do that? She loves this baby so much." Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves all of His servants a lot more and far more greater than this woman loves this baby. Allahu Akbar. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't enjoy putting anyone through difficulty or punishment. He doesn't enjoy putting anyone into Jahannam. He says it Himself in the Quran, مَا يَفْعَلَ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ إِن شَكَرْتُمْ وَآمَنْتُمْ. What am I going to do if I punish you? By punishing you, what do I get if you believe and you are grateful to me? What benefit is it to Allah that you are punished? Absolutely not. Nothing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this life as a test. And He will reward those who are patient. And it's not going to be fair for a person who strives and showed their love for Allah if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to put everyone in Jannah. Even those who disobeyed and didn't love Him. Right? This is a big blessing that even the 5 times daily salah, our teacher used to say this a lot. That this is a means of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showing His love to us. That He wants us to go to Jannah. So He made these 5 salawat fard upon us. Now imagine for a second if these 5 salawat were not fard upon us. If they were all nafil. How many of us will wake up for fajr? How many of us are even waking up for tahajjud nowadays? Or would all the rest of the 5 salawat turn into tahajjud? That would just be nafil and we wouldn't pray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I want to give you Jannah. I have to give it to you in lieu of something. So I'm saying at least do this much, I'll give you Jannah for it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is loving so much. I mean, a lot of times we talk about His punishment and His anger, but we also have to discuss His love a lot. The last person who will leave Jahannam and enter Jannah, this is reported in Sahih Muslim. He will come out of Jahannam crawling and falling, crawling and falling. And he'll finally climb out of Jahannam, and this will be the last person to exit Jahannam and enter Jannah. This person has committed every sin possible. This person only had a little bit of iman, and that was the only thing that saved this person out of eternal punishment. This person will come out of Jahannam, out of the pit of Jahannam, will look into the distance and will look and see a beautiful tree. And will make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, please bless me with this tree. Bring me near to this tree. The tree has fruit, it has water running by it. I want to take shade in it. I want to eat from its fruit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell His servant, do you promise me that you will not ask for anything else after I give you this tree? Yes, Ya Allah, I won't ask you for anything else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will carry him to that tree and he will be by that tree. After a while, he's enjoying his time. He'll look into the distance and he'll see a second tree. Even more beautiful than the first one. And he'll ask, Ya Allah, please, I know I promise you I won't ask you anything, but Ya Allah, that tree is more beautiful than this one. I would like to have that tree. Just bring me near that tree, that second tree. Please, Ya Allah. I promise I won't ask anything after that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, yes, okay. I'll give it to you. Remember, you're breaking a promise still. Well, I'll give it to you. But you promise now that you won't ask me anything after this? Yes, Ya Allah, I promise you. I won't ask anything after this. I promise you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take him close to the second tree. Now he's underneath the shade, taking benefit from the fruit and the stream and drinking the water and enjoying the shade. After that, he'll see a third tree in the distance. This tree is close to Jannah. He'll look at it, it's even beautiful than the second one. Say, Ya Allah, please, that third one, please. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya Bani Adam, you promise you break, you promise you break? Okay, fine, I'll give you the third one too. I'm merciful, I'll give it to you. So he'll go to the third tree. Now he's sitting in the shade, enjoying the food and drinking the water. Then he'll look to the right and he'll see through the gates of Jannah. All the laughing, the birds chirping, the fragrance, the fun, everything going on, the light. Like, Ya Allah, please. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya Bani Adam, you'll never stop, will you? So he looks at him and he says, I'll give you Jannah and I'll give you your own private property in Jannah. It'll be 10 times the size of the world that you used to live in. This person will look at Rabbul Alameen and say, أَتَسْتَهْزِئُ بِي وَأَنْتَ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ? Are you joking with me while you're the Lord of all the worlds? Are you serious? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look at him and say, I'm not joking. I'm giving you all of that. This is the last person entering Jannah. At this time, this person can't believe what he's getting. And as you can see, I'm smiling right now. Every muhaddith that narrated this hadith also smiled. You know why? Because Prophet ﷺ smiled. And you know why Prophet ﷺ smiled? Because Allah smiled at this person. This is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of times the person will be in Jannah, enjoying themselves, having a lot of fun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call them near and say, remember you did this sin, and this sin, and this sin? Ya Rabbul Alameen, I thought you forgave me. And he's thinking, time's up, I gotta go now. The book of deeds is reopened. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, I forgave you. You were having a lot of fun there, so I just want to call you back and share a smile with you. This is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? But just like any relationship, it has to be two ways. We have to show love back to Allah. And the question is, how do we show love back to Allah? The Quran tells us beautifully. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. None of you will attain the love of Allah. None of you will attain piety until you sacrifice that which you love. When this ayah was revealed, there were Sahaba that came and donated their entire garden full of orchards. There were Sahaba that came and donated their only and best conveyance that they had. And everything they loved, they came and gave it to Prophet ﷺ. Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha and Ali radiallahu anhu, their sons became sick. And then, this is even before the revelation of this verse. Whatever food they had, they promised that they would fast for 3 days. If Hassan and Hussein radiallahu anhu felt better. And every single day they fasted, a poor person came and knocked on their door, asking them for whatever food they had. They would give that food to those people that were begging at their door. And they would stay hungry the entire night. And then the ayah was revealed about them. And they made such great sacrifices. But my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking you to sacrifice all of your property. Nor is He asking you to sacrifice your car. Nor is He asking you to sacrifice all the food that you have. The only thing that He's asking you to sacrifice is that sin that you love. If you sacrifice the sin that you love, you'll gain the love of Allah. So I think in this month of February, there's a relationship that we need to mend. That's a relationship between the creation and the Creator. And it's about time that a lot of us say, I love you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us in our iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in every way, shape, or form. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather us in Jannah just as He gathered here today. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا وأرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على جميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وأقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة وحمزة أسد الله وسر رسوله ورضوان الله تعالى عليه أجمعين. اللهم اغفر للعباس وولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تغادر ذنبا. الله الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوا غرضا من بعدي، فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم، وخير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، وأذل الشرك والمشركين، ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم، واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا معهم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك وحبيبك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ منه نبيك وحبيبك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. واذكروا الله تعالى يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم. أقيموا الصلاة.